Welcome to another Classic Car Club drive-thru. Today, we're driving one of my favorites, the Porsche 964. Put a lot of work into it. We bought it all specced out the way we thought it was going to be, and as it happens when someone catalog shops and puts together lots of different parts, there's a lot of sorting to do to make it right. So we have redone a lot in this car, but we are chasing the carrot everyone else is chasing to make the ultimate performance 911 that captures the spirit of what 911s are all about. And the 964 is a particularly good platform for that, it turns out. And if you have any doubts of that, you just ask the guys at Singer. They're building their cars off the same platform. We're not quite going for Singer level, but we do want to get a taste of that performance and capture what the best driving experience you can have in a performance environment out of a classic 911. So for nearly 10 years, I kind of overlooked the 964 run the car club. We started out with a 1988 911. It was a beautiful commemorative edition in diamond blue. That was a car we had in posters on our wall when we were kids. The classic curvy 80s 911. Obviously the 993 got a lot of attention, so we had a few of those. And the 964, I never really knew what it was about. It's the kind of plain-looking middle child in between the car we knew as kids and this new, curvy, last of the air-cooled 993. But it turns out the 964 is actually a really impressive bit of machinery. It was an interesting time for Porsche. I don't know the whole story, but from what I gather, while business was not great over at Porsche, they had developed a lot of new technologies, particularly around what was going into the 959, and they tried to apply a bit of what they learned in the road cars. So they got rid of the torsion bars, they had coilover suspension, they got rid of engine gaskets, which turned out not to be the greatest move. These cars are known to have leaky engines, but they did really re-engineer the entire 911 when they came out of the 964, and the result was a massive jump in performance. These cars have a lot more power as a 3.6 liter up from a 3.2. I don't want to misquote, but I know it's in the mid-high twos for horsepower out of the box. So pretty impressive numbers, a lot faster than the outgoing 80s 911s. The suspension, arguably more dialed in, but also, a car like this more tunable. And the result was a car that, honestly, I hadn't driven one for the first 6-8 years to run the club. And when I did, I'm like, wow, these things are properly fast. Even totally stock, they're really fast cars.
Let me go in front of you, because when you go, you're gone. So I'll get the run up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this thing is properly fast.
When you took off, you were a mile ahead of me, and I'm not in a slow vehicle. I could not keep up at all with you. It's cool.
Right. So this particular 964, we bought. It was getting a lot of attention. I think someone listed on Bring a Trailer, and it was on eBay, and it had all the right specs. 3.8 liter motor. It was a retired track car getting put back into street form. Everything sounded just right. Unfortunately, some of the stuff that had been set up for the track hadn't been properly dialed back for street use, so it looked like the motor was built to run on race fuel. When you don't run on race fuel, we ran into problems with detonation. Suspension was too stiff still. We dialed back the coils. So at this stage, while we bought our dream car and we're really drinking the Kool-Aid of the 964 craze, we've ended up kind of rebuilding everything in the car for better or worse. But with that, we now have a 3.8 liter motor. We haven't dynoed it, but I guess it's somewhere in the high threes, maybe 360, 380 horsepower. Has a lightweight flywheel, which does make it so you have to kind of maintain the idle a little bit. But when you blip the throttle, this thing revs like a demon. It's really, really revvy car. Planted, I think we still have to go a little softer in suspension for drive around New York, but when you get out on nice roads, it's just about perfect. And the way the suspension geometry is dialed in, this is the best on-center steering feel of any car I've driven. Also purely mechanical, really feels like it's made of harder metal. I'm going to stop talking for a minute because we're going to have a little bit of a blast here. You can hear what this engine's all about. At the very end, the car shut itself off there. That does happen with this lightweight flywheel.
You're clearly having fun.
Yeah, man, this thing goes. Yeah, the car did shut off. Yeah, that's one of the downsides of this lightweight flywheel. It'll rev up and drop really quickly, and it doesn't always catch itself. We've had the ECU reprogrammed to cope with that a bit. I think we could probably be dialed a little better. It's manageable, but the car will stall once in a while. But none of that matters when you're on the gas and driving. It's not going to shut off while you're moving. But man, it's fast. I mean, we're usually that run, I can kind of get a good quarter mile up the West Side Highway, and I had to keep letting off because I was getting ahead of the lights. This thing is properly fast. It doesn't leave me wanting for any more power, to be honest. And with the way suspension's dialed in, it's just such a good, pure mechanical feeling to drive it. You know, a couple of tweaks to go, but I don't think I'd have this car any other way. It is a very committed experience to drive. You have to be here to operate the machine. And you know, it helps to have some experience under your belt driving some other 911s, because this can be a little bit of hard work. But when you have the experience to manage it, and then you can get out and drive on some nice roads, this is the next level of the 911 driving experience. Super tight, kind of takes everything you love about a 911, turns it up a couple notches. So work your way through the fleet, drive some cars, and then save yourself an afternoon to shoot up to Bear Mountain this thing and see what it's all about.